What's up, Hounds? It's Cooper here. Actually, we're hanging out with Frost for the WildStar interview here. You know, it's kind of your thing. You're around the game a little bit. So we actually just took a sneak peek at some of your content that's upcoming.
Yes.
And one of the big things for us Lorehound people is the story mode. It's story mode, basically. So it's a one-player experience, completely guided.
Yep.
And it's for the non-one percenters, right? Because you're going to be able to get all the story that you would from raiding, or at least a different cut of it.
Right. Believe it or not, WildStar is going to make content for people other than the hardcore 1%. So, yeah, I know, weird.
Odd.
Yeah, I know, it's like a bigger demographic. Weird. So, yeah, this is totally, and I wish Pappy was here. He unfortunately couldn't make it, but he absolutely loves this stuff because it is very lore-centric. And so we wanted to have a single-player experience that the player could do repeatedly, have options and change things, and really find out the story of what's going on.
So this is a new, it's more focusing on like the overall Nexus story and the artificial intelligence that really guides all the technology and stuff like that. But that's not replacing the Defile story, right? Like it's actually like an expansion of it.
It's a supplement of it. So in fact, what you need to do first is you do the Defile content, you find out some information about the story that leads you into the journey into Omni-core 1. Really, it goes at the same time as what's happening in the raid. So we were talking about the 1%ers, right?
Okay.
So the people that are doing the raids right now in the Datascape, what they're doing is they're battling Avitus. And Avitus is this weird, messed up AI that is going just absolutely insane and ruining really a lot of the planet by doing this, right? But they need 40 people to go into Datascape to destroy him. When they destroy him there, you have to throw the kill switch within Omni-core 1. It goes tandem with it, and it also adds that element of, being an important part of the story yourself, but then also having the other part of where, people within your faction group up together and do something really epic and big.
What is the gear like coming out of that? Because it's a substantial, it's not a dungeon, but it's close.
Yeah, I would say it's like a tier 0 dungeon level of gear, so it is helpful in progressing, perhaps, if you want to make the jump into dungeon stuff, but usually, the way that we do itemization for the most part is if you want dungeon level gear, you run dungeons, and if you want raid level gear, you have to do raids. So with this stuff though, it's a pretty, we wanted to have something that was important enough for a single player to run through and get all the items for it.
But so there actually is a lot of other content coming through for this content patch. So what's some of the other stuff we can expect outside the single player experience, the raids, the dungeon?
Yeah, all that stuff. We have the Defile, which we kind of touched on a little bit. Defile is a brand new zone. It's within the Isagral continent. So you have Blighthaven and you have Grimvault, and now we have the Defile. The Defile has single player content, like normal quests that you would do throughout a zone. It's got some path missions in there. It's also got 5-player content, so it's not as brutal as dungeons, but I would say that the average group should probably be 5 people. If you're a hardcore badass, maybe you have less people doing that stuff, but
that's open world content you're talking about, just in the zone.
Yeah. So we had something that was very similar in Blighthaven, that you would go through the nursery and all these other things where Drusera was forged, if you will. And so we have that version, but for the Defile. And then we also have a 20-person public event, very similar to Blighthaven, with the Tree of Hope.
It's always fun when you play with the Z-axis. Like, you guys love doing platformer little puzzles and stuff like that. I assume the strafing runs are just going to be much like that, right?
Yeah, you're going up into attack ships, and you're kind of just doing all these different bombing runs on the back of these giant worms that have these things called exogamers.
They're pretty hideous, yeah.
They're disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, the art team kind of worries me at some points in time, because they're like, here's the concept for what we're going to do, Frost. Like, they're all nice, and then you see what they've made, and you're like,
what's wrong with you?
You're an horrible human being. Why would you create this? But yeah, no, it's great, disgusting. I love metal, so it's a very metal zone. Like, there's just eyeballs everywhere and spikes and teeth, and it's great.
And actually, you guys, again, have some hidden content we saw in the trailers. So your Lorehounds are going to have to, look around in WildStar for it, but there's some good hidden stuff in there. Also throws back to some pop culture and stuff like that. But actually, one of the things, you guys have pushed out a couple content patches. But you announced recently that originally your mission was really, monthly content, and now you're going to go more into these bigger packages, which we're getting right now, or getting soon. Is that, now the cycle that we can expect, more like quarterly every couple months kind of thing, and then just...
Well, to be honest with you, we're going off the when it's ready thing. So It could be like if we get something that's ready within a month, then we'll put that out. You know, the interesting thing, we've been talking about this quite a bit because there's a lot of people that are asking, well, you know, why did you stray from that? I think the reason is we wanted to put out stuff that was a little less buggy, and we wanted to have stuff that was a higher quality. And sometimes that means not hitting your marks exactly and getting it out, right?
Okay.
So we had to make the rough decision of, do we want to do this, or because yeah, that was our mission originally, and we stuck to it for the first couple, but there were some pretty big bugs in there that we were not particularly proud of, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't do that again too.
What about, so I mean, we just talked about the Omni-core experience, and it's a very single-player guided experience, a lot of story and stuff like that.
Yep.
You really haven't done it in WildStar, certainly to that level.
No.
Is that a little bit of a risk there? I mean, you just mentioned we thought players were going to do this, and they didn't.
Right.
So, like, is that more where you think it's going to go, or?
Well, to be honest with you, I hope so. It's something that we're particularly proud of. We put a lot of time and effort into this. It's fully VO'd. You know, this is a very tailor-fit experience, and again, it's going to be based off of player metrics, and sometimes you have to take those risks. I think it's something that makes sense because the biggest demographic that we have in our game is solo players. So
yeah.
I mean, that's weird, you know, that massive multiplayer online game. Right?
I don't want to play with anybody.
Right, no, but that's the weird thing. There are tons of people that are like, leave me alone, I'm gonna do my things. I just like seeing other people. You know?
Yeah, right. I want other people to be there so I can ignore them.
Right. I don't know why that exists, but it does. And so I think that this will make sense just because for the demographic purpose, it should fit that type. Now, whether players like the content or not is a whole other thing, and I hope that they do. And I think they will. But we'll find out. If they don't like it in the future, then we'll probably start going to another direction of stuff that they like more and that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and so obviously you have the PTR set up, and some of the content's there, and some of it isn't quite yet. So when actually do we expect to get into the journey?
When it's ready.
Really? Like, you can't even give me...
I can't even give you an estimate.
2014.
It will be this year. How about that?
Right.
At some point.
Is that like fiscal year? Is it?
Who knows? Who knows? You know, we're definitely working on getting it in as quickly as we can. We don't want to provide an exact date and then be like, well, it's not up to the level that we want. But we're not dragging ass on this. It's not like we sit at work and go like, well, guys, I guess we could work on the game today. You know,
well,
like,
the comments say you do.
that's the thing. A lot of people are like, what does Carbine actually do?
Yeah.
Like, we work is the thing. We do a lot of things. So, yeah, I mean, we're working on it, and when it's ready, it's ready.
All right, Frost. We can't wait. It looks great. Vast amount of content. Very different. So any player, any squad, you can do it. This is very high level. There's not much for the lobies, so that really just means you should play more, right? So, Frost, thanks so much. Can't wait.
Thanks for your time.
2014-ish.